share just how I make granola. Hi, it's Rebecca and I'm coming to you from my kitchen today. So I've been making granola for a long time. It's just a thing I like to eat, so sometimes I buy a box of granola and I'm always both appalled at the price, and I never read the ingredients list and I'm just never fully satisfied. So I just usually make my own. I don't really use recipes. I sort of have like a vague idea in my mind about proportions, but I don't follow recipes. So this isn't exactly a recipe to follow. This is just some inspiration and just some ideas. So I'm going to show you how I do it. Let's go. I like to use different oatmeal. So I have a quick oatmeal and I have like steel cut oats or whatever they are. Oh, they're still called quick oats. And these are quick oats. These are, oh sorry, these are the large flake oats here, and these are quick oats. I like to mix it up. I like the different textures. You'll see, I'm gonna use about 2 cups of each, give or take. See how nice and big these are? I'll show you a little closer. They're nice big flakes. It's like I'm getting low. You know what? I'm just gonna use the rest. Again, I don't really follow recipes. And then these ones are quick oats, so they're much finer. I'll probably use a little less of these because I added so many of the others. But I make it quite a bit and we actually go through it. Okay, enough of the oats. Now the add-ins, I'm using, it looks like I've got sweetened coconut. I tend to just buy whatever does not have contamination or may contain tree nuts because my son has nut allergies. So that's always a trick. Sometimes I don't get a lot of choices. I just have to get what's available. I am just going to use this entire container. I'll just add a little less sugar. I know this is sweetened. Usually I buy unsweetened, like I said, but whatever. Okay, so this is how my son likes it, just these 2 ingredients. I'm just gonna mix it by hand as the dry. I like to mix in a lot of other things, but of course, like I mentioned, he has tree nut allergies and peanut allergies, so we're really cautious about what ingredients I put in for him. He doesn't normally eat these things, so I'm not gonna put these in today, but I would normally, if I was making this for myself, I would put in a couple tablespoons of chia seeds, for sure, pumpkin seeds. I love, love, love pumpkin seeds. I always put them in mine. The reason I'm not putting them in my son's is because I actually threw the labels out when I put them in my mason jar, and now I can't remember. And I did it quite a while ago. So until I get fresh new ones that I make sure have no tree nut contamination, I'm just not gonna use them. And then hemp seeds. This is also something I would definitely put in for myself, not for my son. But then this is gonna be it for the dry mix for my son. Like I said, normally I would add all this other stuff. Oh, sorry, there's one more thing. I'll add in some cinnamon to him. He loves cinnamon. And again, you can see I'm not measuring. I'm probably gonna add in a couple tablespoons. And then for myself, I would add cranberries, but you don't add that in before you bake it. You add that in after it comes out of the oven. So that's an after. If you add any dried fruit, you always want to add that once it comes out of the oven, or else it's going to get all hard. You don't want hard dried fruit. You want soft dried fruit. Okay, so I just mix this up. This already looks delicious, right? It's very simple. So then we want to make the liquid. And the liquid, I typically you want about equal parts of an oil to sugar. So I'm just gonna use coconut oil. I like this stuff. I'm using a tablespoon mainly because I have to scoop it out somehow. But I will add, I think I'll add like 3 or 4 tablespoons, we'll see. Like I said, no measuring, but that looks like it's going to be enough once it's melted. You know what, maybe I'll add 1 more. That's a lot of oatmeal. But we go through it, my son eats it constantly. And I really like it with yogurt and fruit in the morning. It fills me right up. To that, I'm just gonna add about equal parts brown sugar. Now, this is my own homemade brown sugar. I have a video on that. I will link up here. I think I can do that. But Cliff Notes, it's just 1 cup of sugar to 1 tablespoon of molasses, and you mix it. Use your blender, or not your blender, your mixer. You can do it by hand. It just takes quite a while. I think that's about right. And actually, I'm gonna add some of my homemade vanilla. I will also add a card up here for, I've got lots of videos on making homemade vanilla. If you're not making homemade vanilla, you need to be. I'm just gonna add this in here. I measure with my heart, so actually I could add a little more. Okay, it's plenty. And I'm actually going to microwave this super quick because I want to get that coconut milk, or the coconut oil. Okay, so this has had a minute in the microwave. It doesn't look all the way melted, but it will as soon as I stir it. I could have put it in the microwave before I added the sugar. It doesn't really matter. And now I'm just going to pour it on top of my oats and coconut and stir this in. Again, this process isn't rocket science. You can, adjust these amounts completely, obviously. Like, I'm not even measuring stuff, so you just don't want it to be too soupy. You want your oats to be coated but not dripping. So they can be more on the dry side, less on the dry side. You'll figure out what you like if you make it more than once. You might want to start with just making a small batch, right? This is a fairly big batch, but I know we go through it. This will last, I doubt it'll last a week. Oh, another thing you would probably want to add, if I didn't have a son with nut allergies, I would be adding slivered almonds in here for sure. And flax seeds. You could add flax seeds. I just don't have any right now. You want to grind them just a bit before you use them because you don't get the benefit of them unless they're just ground a bit. So now I'm going to spread it on a baking pan. So not new, these are just my old baking pans. They're well used. I usually use a silicone baking mat when I cook like cookies or anything on them, but I just find this works just as well without anything. So I'm going to put about half on here. Okay, what I like to do is actually kind of pat it down so it's kind of firm, like I pat it down firmly, and that's because it will dry. When it cooks, it'll cook into nice little clumps for me. Not just clumps, but I mean when I tear it apart, it'll be in clumps better. And I like clumps in my granola. So I preheated my oven to 300 degrees, and we're gonna cook it. We're just gonna keep checking on it every 15 minutes. Okay, so these have been in 30 minutes. Check them. Oh, they're looking pretty good. I don't want to move it around too much. I think that's done enough. Out. I'm gonna let them fully cool before I move them, because that will let them cool into little clumps. Okay, so now that this is nice and cool, I'm going to transfer it into some mason jars. Before that, I'm gonna add some chocolate chips because my son loves chocolate chips. So I'm probably gonna add, I don't know, maybe not quite a cup to each pan. This looks like plenty. You can see that there's not going to be tons of chunks, but I like these little chunks that come up like this. So I'm just going to break it up, mix it a bit gently. I don't want to break up all these chunks I've been working for. Okay, I got this big scooper. It does a good job. that's all there is to it. And boom, I've got a nice jar of granola. I've got lots of jars. I'll probably have 2 or maybe even 3 jars of granola that will last us a few days. If you like granola, I hope you try this recipe. Thanks so much for following along. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you liked this video, you'll probably also like this one or this one. I'll meet you there. Bye for now.